In Game 6 of the second round, on the brink of elimination, Jayson Tatum was having a terrible game. Through 3 quarters, he had only 3 total points and was shooting 1 for 13 from the field. For a superstar, an amazing player like Tatum, who's received All-Star and All-NBA honors, this is not something you expect. And for a guy who led his Celtics team to the finals last year, this is definitely a performance that's not up to his standard. And then in the fourth quarter, he popped off. He finished with 16 points in that fourth quarter while hitting 4 crucial threes and kept the Celtics alive by helping them win that Game 6. And today in Game 7, he had the biggest, best revenge game of his life. He scored 51 points and passed Steph Curry for the most points in a Game 7. The Celtics won by 30, and the game hasn't even ended when I'm currently recording this. They're obliterating the 76ers. They completely took advantage in that third quarter, and Tatum hit a bunch of crucial shots down the stretch to just make that lead bigger and bigger and close this game completely out. And for a guy who people said was overrated after that Game 6, he had a very poor showing in last year's finals as well. So people were calling him overrated. They were saying it's the downfall of Jayson Tatum, how he's not a true superstar, and he completely shut up all the haters. He proved everybody wrong in this monster performance. Even after his great fourth quarter in Game 6, his stats through Games 1 through 6 were 25 points per game on a terrible 42 from the field and 32% from 3. And for a guy like Jayson Tatum, who averaged 30 points in the regular season, and he's a quality shooter from mid-range, he can finish really well, and he can hit shots, the 32 and 42% are not stats that are up to his standards. And for the Celtics team, who is yet so close to winning the finals last year, this is truly the year. After the Bucks were eliminated in the first round, it seemed like there wasn't as much hard competition. And a Philly team with Harden, Maxey, and Embiid, which was very inconsistent, and Embiid was getting locked up game in and game out by Al Horford. This team just had such a wide path, or such an easier path than before, to make the conference finals, and now they'll play the Heat in the conference finals, which will be a rematch of the 2020 and last year's Eastern Conference Finals. And yes, the Heat are a very, very good team. However, the Heat don't have the depth that the Celtics do, and the Heat don't have the positional advantages that the Celtics do. So I think it's going to be a tough series, and the Celtics pass the ball. They have very, very good ball movement, so I think they can exploit the Heat using their ball movement. So a guy like Jayson Tatum dropping 50 was very, very crucial, helping the Celtics move on to the next round, and they're on the quest to winning that first ring, because this team is very complete. They're really good at offense, really good at defense. They just have to put it all together in one big playoff run and win the championship. And for a guy like Tatum, this 51-point game, which I mentioned is the most in a Game 7, must be a great confidence booster. You're now going into the Eastern Conference Finals off your best career playoff performance, and you're going up against a team you've played now twice. And so you're just going to have to go in and execute your game plan and how you've been playing against them in order to win the series. And I know it's going to be a tough, physical, and very good defensive series because both these teams excel in that. But the Celtics having the star power of Tatum and the star power of Jaylen Brown is going to help. And Jaylen Brown, he's a very, very good complementary piece to Jayson Tatum, as we've seen throughout the playoffs and just throughout their careers. Those two mesh well. And yes, there's always been some type of story or drama around Boston of, is JB going to leave, or what's going to happen? Are they going to blow it up? But this Celtics team doesn't have to do that. They're very good. They can play together really well. Like I mentioned, Al Horford's been very, very important. Embiid had a really bad game today. He was shooting under like 30% from the field, and that's not the type of game you want from your MVP. Harden had 9 or 10 points. That's not the type of game you want from a future Hall of Famer. And so it just looked like the Sixers lacked the hustle, the heart, the effort. They really didn't want it as much as the Celtics, because you saw the Celtics, Tatum grabs the rebound, he sets up the break, they pass the ball. Brogdon was getting into the action a little bit. Everyone was just passing the ball, moving cohesive as a team, as a unit, and they were able to get a lot of threes, a lot of nice layups. And so that's what really helped in that third quarter, where they completely shut down the Sixers, and they went on a 33-5 run, and it was a 3-point game and a half, but by the end of the third, it was a 25 to 30 point game and completely out of hand. The final score ended up being 112-88, but obviously there was a little bit of garbage minutes there at the end. Tatum finished with 51 points on 17 for 28 shooting. Just a game after going 5 for 21, he incredibly does much better in his shot IQ, shot selection, and just his ability to hit shots. He hit 6 of 10 threes. That's really good. I mean, he shot 4 of 11 the past game, and those 4 came in that fourth quarter. He did a great job on the board, setting up the break, setting up the offense, and facilitating. He was getting MVP chance. He was hitting a lot of defining threes and threes that just changed the course of this Game 7, and it was a complete blowout because of the effort of Jayson Tatum. And before I end the video, I do want to congratulate Joe Mazzulla on leading the Celtics team to the conference finals, because even though they did have the same roster as last year's finals run, what he's come in and done as the youngest coach in the NBA right now at 34 years old, and just let the Celtics play basketball. Because one thing, if you've noticed about the Celtics when they play under Joe Mazzulla, is they don't necessarily run as many plays or sets. They more or less run and just focus for the best shot. It's just a very team basketball oriented style of play, and all the players on the team are just passing the ball, just hoping for the best shot. It doesn't matter who, someone's going to be able to hit the shots. Even Marcus Smart hits threes. So I think their way of playing basketball has really helped, because they can effectively run a 5 out, and all the guys other than pretty much only Robert Williams is able to hit these shots. So yeah, congrats to the Celtics. Jayson Tatum had a monster revenge game and proved everyone wrong. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and bye. I'll see you in the next one.